Good morning, I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. I'm going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. Got a lot to talk about, so I'm going to jump straight into it with my good friend Benjamin Jurken with a company called the ABC Group, and they specialize in helping businesses engage with China in order to grow their businesses. I love the work you do, Benjamin. Tell us a little bit about the ABC Group story. And by the way, the website is abcgroupllc.com. Go ahead, Benjamin.
Sure, and thanks for having me today, Kevin. The ABC Group is a supply chain and export management firm which caters to the needs of U.S. importers and exporters active in Southeast Asia. We're headquartered in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and have a liaison office in Guangzhou that provides on-the-ground support for clients ranging from $25 million to $1 billion in annual revenues. Our primary focus is to provide daily operational support in Asia while significantly reducing management expenses by solving problems quicker and eliminating the need for clients to travel regularly to China.
Very good. Tell us about your guest today.
Sure. With that said, our firm has actually the pleasure of working with a great logistics provider over the years, C.H. Robinson. And today I have the pleasure of introducing Stéphane Rambaud, who is president of Global Freight Forwarding.
Very good. Welcome to the program. Why don't you start off, Stéphane, with your elevator speech? Can you give us a panoramic overview of what your company is all about?
Well, good morning, and first of all, thank you for having me on your show. C.H. Robinson is one of the world's largest third-party logistics company. We're a Fortune 500 company based in Prairie, Minnesota. We're about 100 years old, and we employ about 13,000 employees throughout the world. We have about 280 offices around the world. I happen to be running the Global Forwarding Division that is composed of about 3,500 people through about 100 offices worldwide, and what we do is basically facilitate the international transport and customs clearance of goods for companies that ship around the world.
Very interesting. Your question for Benjamin?
Yeah, Stéphane, obviously you have a global reach. Could you maybe fill us in on your average customer profile, especially in terms of the industries they operate in and the size and frequency of their global shipments?
Yeah, it's interesting because we deal with very large Fortune 500 companies that, ship maybe 200 times per month, and then we have much smaller shippers that may give us, 3 or 4 shipments a month. And, I think we pride ourselves on being able to handle, both types of companies extremely well. But, when you look at international transport around the world, it's expected to reach $85 trillion by 2020, and it seems that more and more customers, companies in America, ship internationally. So, I think that's where we come in.
By the way, is your website chrobinson.com?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to make sure I got that in. chrobinson.com. Go ahead, Benjamin.
Sure. So, Stéphane, obviously, as you mentioned, global freight forwarding is a very large industry, or a very large business, and there's a lot of options for companies to choose when they're looking for a logistics provider, whether they're importing or exporting. At the end of the day, what sets C.H. Robinson apart from the crowd?
Well, you're right. We have 4,000 competitors in North America alone. So that's, certainly a fragmented industry. But, when you look at our company, it's a global leader. We have a very strong global network. I think, the expertise of our people, the fact that we're one of the top 3 largest inbound ocean transportation companies in North America. I think those are, advantages that our customers can leverage, large service contracts with ocean liners, airlines. So, our customers can leverage that pricing, consistent service. We also have a very strong worldwide platform, so great technology. So, those are things that are differentiators for us, we feel.
Absolutely. And I guess, kind of going a little different angle here, you mentioned that you work with companies that are bringing in only a handful of shipments a month to Fortune 500 companies. Are you seeing these different segments of your customer base experiencing different challenges in terms of moving freight, or similar challenges? Could you maybe fill us in on that?
Yeah, I think it's, although the web, I think, has helped, what we would call typically B and C type customers, there is still an issue with, maybe little knowledge of the country locally and factors that are important to international shipping, local regulations, infrastructure, language, customs, currencies, tariffs. So it's complicated, and that's where we come in, and we try and help these companies. But I think people don't realize that even when you deal with a company like China, China has different customs rules depending on the city, that you deal with. In China, Brazil is one of the worst countries in the world to, for customs clearances. So, there are issues a little bit everywhere, and I think it's important to be with the right, provider to understand these ahead of time.
I was curious, you're mentioning in terms of size of businesses that you work with, are there certain verticals or industries that are more likely to use your services?
Well, it's really very broad. We have customers that, ship furniture, textile, appliances, sporting goods. Then we have high tech. So, it's really a mix of, different industries. I think, whatever can be shipped is shipped. What do you buy nowadays that is made in North America, frankly? So, it's really quite a broad range.
That is a bad punchline to a joke. But anyway, go ahead, Benjamin.
Well, and kind of building off that, I would argue that C.H. Robinson has one of the best pulse on global trade, especially because they're across so many different industries. Are you seeing any sort of renewed economic softness in Asia or Europe, and do you foresee any sort of global slowdown over the next 12 months?
Well, some of us who were in this industry in the 90s until 2008, the international trade was growing at twice the pace of GDP, and I think it's really flattened lately. Countries are, some countries have become nationalistic and protective, and there are new trade barriers. But what is going to happen, with Europe? Is Europe going to recover in 2015? Some of the countries like Brazil and India have been hit hard since 2008 as well. So I think there is specialists predict an increase in international trade in 2015. But, there again, what is the impact of a strong dollar going to be on exports from America? So I think, what about China, labor issues? So, we try and keep, keep our thumb on that pulse here as much as we can, because the issues, vary from one country to another. But, hopefully international trade will continue to increase, and, Europe will come back, which will be good for us as well.
And you mentioned labor, and I was wondering if we just briefly come back home to the negotiations at Long Beach Port. It seems obviously that tensions are easing. How long do you think it'll be until Long Beach is operating back at full capacity and that bottleneck has been alleviated?
Well, people tend to think that by the third quarter things should get back to normal, but I think the issue here is everybody is talking about the situation being just a labor issue, but I think we need to realize that it's also the size of vessels nowadays. These vessels, carry 18,000 containers, so much larger vessels, which takes a lot longer to unload. The carriers decided last year not to deal with chassis anymore, so that's another burden on importers. You've had issues with trucking regulations, so trucking companies. There's been rail issues, so I think we have a bit of an infrastructure issue maybe on some of the U.S. ports, and I think that some of these issues might linger a little bit and might continue to make it challenging for importers. I think beyond Q3.
I got to wrap it up with that. Great segment, though. Thank you so much, Stéphane, for being with us. Do you want to mention his website, chrobinson.com, chrobinson.com. Benjamin Jurken, you can learn more about him at the abcgroupllc.com. That's abcgroupllc.com. About 30 seconds. Wrap it up for us, Benjamin.
Sure. Well, I just obviously want to take a moment to thank Stéphane for sharing his insights today. I think C.H. Robinson really is a great company, and I would strongly encourage anybody that's engaging in international trade to consider C.H. Robinson for logistical support.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Benjamin and Kevin. Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen. It was a great segment. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here, including this interview, will be found over there at the national news website, usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter, and this is The Price of Business.